Have you ever wondered if the things you're experiencing in your relationship are normal or abnormal? Have you ever questioned whether some of the dynamics of the relationship are healthy or unhealthy? Do you ever ask yourself the question, should I keep fighting for this relationship or should I end this relationship and move on? Well, listen, every relationship is unique and has unique characteristics to it, but there are definitely some behavior patterns and attitudes that are unhealthy and even toxic. So today on Relationshots, we're going to look at 7 signs your relationship might be toxic and what to do about it. Welcome to Relationshots. My name's Eric Woot, and if this is your first time hanging out with us, welcome to the place to get relationship advice that actually works in your relationship. If you've not already done so, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss upcoming videos. All right, so today we're going to talk about signs that your relationship might be toxic. But before we get there, let me make a distinction between those who are dating and those who are married. If you're dating and you see some of these signs and they're consistent in your behavior or in the relationship, I'm going to make the suggestion that you run as fast as you can. Don't look back. Don't listen to one more time of, but I love you. Don't listen to one more, but I promise I'll change. Just run without looking back, period. If you're married, however, my suggestion is going to be confront the behavior, challenge your spouse on the behavior, require accountability and change in the behavior, and seek outside help to pull this off. I want you to fight with all that you have to save the marriage and change the dynamic of the relationship. And if after all of that, you still can't enact any change, I would say seek some outside wisdom on what to do next in the relationship. So now that we got that disclaimer, let's talk about 7 signs your relationship may be toxic. Number 1 sign is physical or verbal abuse. Now, this should be pretty self-explanatory. Abuse of any kind in a relationship is completely unacceptable. And if the other person is engaging in some kind of abuse within the relationship, all that's showing you is that their greatest concern is their wants, their needs, and their desires far and above your well-being in the relationship. That's nothing that you want to be a part of. If you're dating, get out as soon as you can. If you're married, seek some outside professional help and wisdom on when it makes sense to separate for a time with a guided separation to hopefully change the behavior and restore the relationship. So number 1 is physical or verbal abuse. Number 2 is many of their statements are traps. Here's what I mean by that. Statements such as, do you want to stay home with me or would you rather go out with your friends? Now, you know they're fishing for something and you know that they're kind of trying to get you to answer wrong so that they can get you, if you know what I mean. Or maybe a statement such as, boy, it sure looked like you enjoyed talking to your coworker a lot tonight at that company party. They're fishing for stuff. It's a passive-aggressive way of kind of making statements or asking questions, and it feels like they're just trying to trap you, and then when you respond with the wrong answer, you know you're going to pay for it. So number 2 is many of their statements feel like traps. Number 3 is constant control or monitoring. This is when they consistently are going through your receipts, going through your phone bill, checking emails, because they just feel like something's off and they're trying to catch you on something. And what I mean by this is not that you've proven to have a dishonest or unfaithful background, but this is just something within them that they consistently are doing in your life. Or maybe they try to control your time with friends, your choices, your outings, but there's always some level of monitoring and control in your life. And if you're married, I do believe that we should all have access to everything. But I also believe that if you have a healthy relationship, your spouse shouldn't be going through your stuff all the time trying to catch you in something if you've not proven yourself to be untrustworthy. If you're dating, you have a right to your privacy. You don't need to give marriage access to a boyfriend or a girlfriend because they haven't made a marriage commitment yet. And so if they're already exhibiting some of those behaviors, like I said at the beginning, I'd just go ahead and run. So number 3 is they have controlling or monitoring behavior in your life. Number 4 is no is an unacceptable word in a relationship. That means that if they invite you somewhere or make a request and you say no, it's often met with some kind of punishment or withdrawal and silence. And what that means is you don't have the freedom to make your own choices. See, trust and freedom are essential for love in a relationship. You need to have the ability that if you don't want to go do something they ask you to do on occasion, you can say no. Now, obviously, if you're saying no every single time, that's a different dynamic in the relationship you need to address. But you need to have the freedom to say no at times in a healthy relationship, and the other person not get upset and try to make you pay every time you do. Number 5, you've stopped saying anything because it's just not worth it. What this means is that it's no longer worth it in your mind to address conflict or to confront in the relationship, because whenever you do, they make you pay for it. And it's just not worth all the extra effort. And so what's happened is you've stopped addressing behaviors and attitudes that you don't approve of in the relationship, and you just moved to a place of accepting them. That's not a healthy place to be. What it means is there is not a safe environment in the relationship where you can have conflict and you can address conflict and actually resolve the conflict in a healthy way. So instead of dealing with all that mess, you're just not going to bring anything up. And that is not a relationship that's going to go the distance. The number 6 sign is they keep a scorecard on you. Yeah, this is the person that keeps a ledger of all your wrongs and all their rights, and they're going to bring that up whenever it makes sense to them. They want to remind you at any moment what you have not done right in the relationship, which causes you to not want to bring anything up, because you know whatever you bring, they're either going to minimize or delegitimize by bringing up something you've done, and just keep this big ledger of all the things you've done wrong. Now, they may say they've forgiven you, but as soon as you get into a conflict, they're going to reach back, pull those things up, and use it as a club to beat you. That's not the kind of person that's thinking about you. That's the kind of person that's focused on themselves in the relationship, and they'll always be the focus of the relationship. Even if it's not a negative thing, but they're keeping a scorecard of how they outserve you, how they outlove you, how they outgive gifts to you. That's still somebody that's focused on themselves and focused on what you're not doing. That's not the kind of person that you want to be in relationship with. Number 7 is they won't take ownership or responsibility. This is the person that has an excuse or a reason for every time they fall short or fail or poorly handle something. And oftentimes what they do is they blame you for causing the poor response on their behalf because they don't want to take responsibility. You try to bring a hurt or disappointment to them, and you know what? They're either going to dismiss it or they're going to minimize it because they're just unwilling to take ownership or responsibility for their actions and attitudes in the relationship. So there are 7 signs that your relationship might be toxic. Now listen, you may be looking at this list thinking, you know what, I've done a few of those things, and I think at times we all have done some of those things. We've fallen short, we mess up, but there's a big difference between one-offs and falling short every once in a while, and when any of these signs has become a normal, regular part of the relationship. That's not healthy. And as I said before, if you're dating, I'm going to recommend moving on down the road and getting out of the relationship. If you're married, I want to recommend setting some healthy boundaries, demanding change in behavior, and seeking outside help. Well, I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below, so go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. And if you can think of anybody who might benefit from this, consider sharing it with them. I look forward to seeing you right here next time on Relationshots.